So Emil, do you want to go next? Do you have a PowerPoint or are you just going to speak?
I'll just go to speak. I have no PowerPoint, and my
Okay.
research explores the new situation emerging in South Caucasus after 44 days war in Nagorno-Karabakh. And the situation in the region is about to be changed after this war launched by Azerbaijan on September 27, 2020. And the result of the war has only changed the status quo, but the peaceful settlement for the conflict has not been reached. By taking into account the differences between conflicting parties' positions, as well as actions of other actors such as Russia, Turkey, and Iran, also Western countries, this research tends to answer the main question: will the unblocking of regional communications be done, and how it will influence the peace-building process on the ground? Conflicted parties, as we know, signed a declaration of ceasefire with the Russian mediation on November 9, 2020, but not all points of it are respected, especially the release of all prisoners of war, military and civilian detained during and after the war, is not respected despite several calls from different officials and international organizations which strongly demanded and continue to demand an immediate and unconditional release of them. It means that it is early to state that a real peace can be achieved because the work of Minsk Group co-chairs is still not restored. Azerbaijan, even on these days, continues to violate the contact line in Nagorno-Karabakh, which is under the responsibility of Russian peacekeepers. In 2020, for the first time after the collapse of Soviet Union, Turkey has entered the region and opened a joint military facility with Russia near Nagorno-Karabakh. And this is a stark indicator of shifting geopolitics in the region. The November agreement radically changed the geopolitical configuration of the region, giving Moscow a central role. And as a result of this agreement, Russian peacekeeping mission was deployed to Karabakh for an initial 5 years with the possibility of renewal. And after signing the ceasefire agreement and according to it, Armenia took actions and followed its responsibilities, but the Azerbaijani side is still continuing to practically deny some of them. Moreover, it continues interim shelling on localities and civilians in Nagorno-Karabakh as well as on Armenian borders after gaining some territorial advantages in Armenia's southeast and northeast directions. All these actions showcase that for the conflict settlement, OSCE Minsk Group co-chairs format reloading becomes a necessity. Co-chairs countries called to continue the dialogue and encourage the sides to welcome them to the region as soon as possible, to allow them to assess the situation on the ground firsthand, to make tangible progress in implementing humanitarian initiatives. We see that co-chair countries try to create a trusty atmosphere to further steps, but the Azerbaijani side is not fully intended to continue the cooperation in the framework of this format. On the contrary, it alleges the Karabakh conflict is now resolved. And as Alex Galinsky on foreign policy rightly points out in his paper, that Baku is attempting to assert sovereignty through force and ethnic cleansing while denying Armenians the right to self-determination. After November 9 agreement in 2021, a new political platform called 3+3 has been launched by Russia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan aimed at stabilizing South Caucasus. This format was considerably promoted by these three countries, when especially Georgia has abstained to participate to it. The peculiarity of this format is that Western powers, mainly United States of America and France, which are officially Minsk Group co-chairs, are practically out of it. During this period, in the framework of this format, only one meeting has been organized in Moscow on December 10, 2021, and there is still some uncertainty regarding this format, which is probably a mixture of economics and geopolitics. Without Western powers, as we are convinced, a regional stability in South Caucasus cannot be reached. For developing more balanced region, other actors have to be involved in the region politically, economically, and logistically. Only in this case, the unblocking of communications will be effective and will serve to the interest of all parties by fully respecting their sovereignty and territorial integrity, that were emphasized also by the European Council's presidents during two meetings in Brussels. After the war, Azerbaijan put in circulation a new term called Zangezur Corridor from Turkey to Azerbaijan through the territory of Armenia. And this claim is a real threat to Armenia's sovereign territory and is a destabilizing factor for the region. Armenia's categorically negative position on this project has been repeatedly stated. Even French ambassador in Armenia said that the expression corridor should be removed. Corridors have left a very bad memory in the history of diplomacy, such as the Danzig corridor. The discourse regarding the corridor couldn't find any support within other Western countries. Any options that might imply a blockade must be excluded. Any communication that will run through the territory of Armenia must be under the control of Yerevan. For Yerevan, it is vital to develop also the Iran-Armenia-Georgia route, which will give new communication opportunities not only to these countries, but also to the whole region. The European Union will provide financing of 600 million euros for the construction of this north-south route. And Iran is intending to enter the Caucasus exclusively through Armenia and Georgia, bypassing Baku and Ankara. Tehran also emphasizes the important role of Yerevan for diversifying its supplies. Another issue for the regional stability is related to the borders delimitation and demarcation, which have to be done only according to the best international practice and experience. It is important to state that Armenia has never put forward preconditions for launching this process with Azerbaijan. Armenia suggests mirrored withdrawal of troops from the border and the deployment of border troops so that the delimitation and demarcation process goes smoothly. During a meeting in Sochi, Azerbaijan and Armenian leaders agreed to take steps to raise security and stability on the Armenian-Azerbaijani border and work towards setting up a bilateral demarcation and delimitation commission. It is important to underline that this commission will be effective only if Minsk Group co-chairs are also involved in it for consultations. But the big problem for starting this process is that Azerbaijani troops illegally crossed the Armenian state border on May 12, 2021 and advanced about 3 kilometers into Armenia's sovereign territory. Part of them pulled back later, but some are still in Armenian sovereign territory. The restoration of Armenia and Turkey relations is another important issue for the region. In this respect, the Antalya Diplomacy Forum can be seen as a step forward in Armenia-Turkey relations. On March 15, Armenia's foreign minister has participated to this forum, and this was the third meeting with Turkish officials after Moscow and Vienna. Armenia's foreign minister reaffirmed to continue negotiations without preconditions aimed at full normalization of relations between two countries. The milestone of Armenia-Turkey negotiations are no conditions which, if fully respected, we are sure that this will lead the process to the positive findings. And summarizing the above-mentioned circumstances and facts, I can argue that the unblocking of communications, as well as borders delimitation and demarcation, are necessary but not sufficient for regional peace building if they are not realized with the consideration of mutual interests and with the respect of the international law. Undoubtedly, they will have a positive impact on peace building and regional stability. But at the same time, the peace building in South Caucasus depends not only on the unblocking of communications, demarcation or delimitation, or other things to do. For a long-term stability, it is also very important to consider the possibility for the implementation of a new model of peace building and peaceful coexistence in this volatile region, where democratization becomes more and more vital by considering the rich multi-ethnic structure of the region with its cultural heritage. Likely the option for the relevant model for peace building, largely fitting with the regional peculiarities, would serve as a good tool to build up sustainability and achieve peace in this region. And in this respect, the question of consociationalism as a democracy model designed for plural societies has to be included in the political agenda. Very likely, the consociationalism will lead the region to a democratic path of development and will guarantee reconciliation, stability, and peace in South Caucasus. Only in this case, the unblocking of regional communications will be done by the full respect of regional countries' sovereignties, and the peace in the region will be maintained by all parties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.